Yeah. He was talking to me about that one and how like he's doing the Python coding for it, and I guess it's like focusing on like underdeveloped areas that have less medical care.
Okay.
So like you can get better medical care in those underdeveloped areas, which is like that's really cool, man. Like that's the kind of things people need to use AI for.
Well, I was kind of mentioning this with within the vacuum one time. I think I was making the point about like just everybody's like paranoia of AI is like I don't agree with that like premise or like I think that's just like bad thinking. But anyways, and then so I was like, okay, well, like then I was just thinking generally about like what can we use this for? What would it be like useful and all this kind of stuff. And then it just like became like this like obvious thing because we were talking about like abstractly too about other things. And I was just like, oh, this is how we like able to coordinate at scale. Cause like we're at scale, but like no one person can like handle that. Like it's too complicated. Even at that, I don't even think like one AI should control all of that either. Like it has to be, it's like a orchestra of like a lot of different agents.
Yeah. I mean that's the whole problem that I kind of have with the open AI and all the ones that are coming out is like there's so few. Like I've found one or two open source, and even the open source ones that you find, like the licensing and all of the like data collection still usually falls under OpenAI. So like
yeah, they're all using OpenAI and they're just like building their models and like their little plugins to the AI model.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you can be as open source as you want, but if you don't control the data that's on your own stuff, like I don't understand the point.
And the thing is like okay, I was listening to a little bit of Bill on Rogan, right?
Hello, Bill.
Hey, man.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good
What's
to
going
see you.
on?
We're here, man.
You are here.
Everything's going wild.
How was your site going?
It's going. We're decentralizing as fast as possible, getting it out of our hands so that we need to protect ourselves from ourselves.
How do you do that? Tell everybody it's maps.
Minds,
rather. Sorry.
Minds.com. MINDS.
I just had Rick Doblin
Rick,
on.
no,
I have psychedelics on the brain.
I sense kinship with maps. Yeah.
Yeah, Minds and maps, the two of them should go together perfectly.
We probably should work
seamlessly.
Together. Yeah. So basically, there's protocols and there's platforms. So, Twitter, Minds, other social networks, these are platforms. They're kind of built in the traditional social media style, which is on servers that are, live in huge cloud centers.
Right.
But there's also protocols. The one that we're working with now is called Nostr, which stands for Notes and Other Stuff Transmitted by Relay. So there's no company owns this protocol. The founder is anonymous, sort of similar to Bitcoin. And what it is it's all about crypto key pairs and signing stuff. So with Nostr, this is all happening in the background on Minds. Every user has a cryptographic key pair, which you can download in your settings. You're the only one who gets the private key. That's your identity. Your content, your followers, all that is tied to your identity. So when you post something, when you follow somebody, that is creating a signature on this decentralized network of relay nodes. So we run a relay. Thousands of other people run relays. Snowden's on Nostr now. It's like getting serious endorsement. And it's because it doesn't have a company, because companies are choke points that can, we saw what happened with Napster, for instance.
What happened with Napster?
Napster just got rocked by the music industry and they basically died. I mean, they still sort of exist, but they pretty much got taken down because there was that entity to go after.
I see. So if they were decentralized, but there was no real decentralization back then, was there?
Well, torrents are decentralized.
BitTorrents, right.
Torrents, actually, in Nostr, there's work that we're involved with now on integrating Nostr with torrents so that more heavy files, video, and rich media can be shared over the network. Right now, it's text and links, essentially.
What is your opinion when it comes to copyright protection and stuff like that? Well, like if someone has copyrighted material, like say if like NBC has a show and then someone uploads it.
I mean, that's illegal.
Right. But
So-
if it's on torrents, it's like, how do you get it down?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
So it's just, even though it's illegal,
Yeah, I mean,
There's
and
no
that's
recourse.
why, like, so we have moderation. I mean, if a copyrighted video gets reported on Minds, then, you know, we will take it down from our interface.
But it
it
can't
still
s-
exists
Right.
on the decentralized network.
so you really can't stop people from sharing it.
No.
No.
And so, like, Rogan was saying something about, like, well, what about if, like, someone's putting up, like, you know, like, basically, you kind of like Napster, like, ripping someone else's media and, like, posting it, right? And then he's kind of like, oh, eventually gets to the end, like, oh, you can't really take it down. And there's nothing preventing him from sharing it. And they're like, no. And so it was kind of funny. But what I was thinking, then later they get to this point, I'm like, homie, those concerns are like irrelevant in the sense of like AI. Like what like everything that was ever on the internet, like up until whatever that point of open AI is like fair game for this thing eventually to figure out how to remix it, you know? Like,
Yeah. It's crazy, and that's like, and the thing is, like, with decentralization and all that, is like, I think it should be more like a setup of nodes, right? Especially for like social media and stuff. Like, you have a node, and that's where all your content is stored, and then the main host, whoever that is, be Minds or whoever, pulls the current data from your node.
Yeah.
So you control that node, and then you can delete the data inside. Like, if you make a post, you can delete that post, and it won't be able to pull that post anymore. Or you can just delete your entire node and then be done with it, and it won't be able to pull anything.
And in the
Like,
same way of like what we need to like evolve our thinking, but like in the sense that like online communities need to like have their own node and even running their own like AI model on it.
oh yeah. I mean,
And then
it's
like keeping like some of that, because like later and when they got to it, so like Rogan talks about like there was this Canadian company who got like all his audio and video, and then we're making deep fake interviews of Joe Rogan, and then Joe goes something about like it, but it was all kind of like dull, right? It wasn't like anything like exciting or funny or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And then like later, the what in my own head I'm calling like the organic creativity is gonna be, even at the sense that like people making like mistakes. Oh my god, that's not a bot. That's like a real person. It's gonna like stand out. Like, oh my god, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because if you deal enough with some of the AI stuff, like you begin to like recognize it real quick. At first, you didn't recognize it at first, and then like now you kind of like recognize it because you see kind of like the template, and even like I remember like the first time, like instantly when I saw those fake Trump being arrested photos, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's AI.
That was great. Those were so great, though. Like, I remember seeing one where like he had like 3 legs, and then
Oh yeah,
like,
the details.
he had,
The
like,
hands
2
are all
arms.
fucked up.
Yeah, he had like 2 second hand coming out or something, and one of them I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is great. These are wonderful.
It's so creepy. Like once you like really look at it, the eyes are always fucked up.
Yeah.
There's, like,
The
it's
eyes are. Those things, like the AI has terrible problems with drawing eyes. Like,
You
I
know,
don't know
there was this
what
one
it is.
photo, and it was of this like science fiction author. But what was so funny, it was one of those like photorealistic ones. But what was funny that the light. Okay, so it was like him, and it was raining, and he has an umbrella, but there was like a light in the umbrella, like shining down, like what if you're doing a photo shoot.
Okay.
Which is so funny because like that would never happen, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all subtle. Just like when you stare at it, you're like, wait a minute, why is there light coming from the umbrella when it's raining? Like that was it's not.
That's not how things work, is it? Do they have a lantern under there?
I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
Glitch in the Matrix. It was a glitch in the Matrix. It worked that way that day.
Oh, man. This shit's funny, but it's only gonna get better.